And we are moving on to the next stage of the playoffs. You just saw the Giants beat the Phillies in the wild card game pretty easily, so now our Giants are moving on to the National League Division Series to take on their division rival, San Diego Padres. All season long, we've been battling out with the Padres, going back and forth on first place. It really just feels like this season was leading up to a playoff matchup, and that is what we have on our hands right here. So let's take a little deep dive into what the Padres are bringing at us with their roster. If you take a look at their rotation, they're going to be rolling with 5 starters, the first one being the National League Cy Young winner in Dinelson Lamet, followed by Mackenzie Gore, Chris Paddock, Joey Lucchesi, and Eric Lauer. So if you take a look at the bullpen, on paper, not the greatest bullpen, lots of 70 overalls in there. The main 2 guys in their pen are their closer, Jose Castillo, and then Robbie Erlin, one of their setup guys. Matt Wisler's also pretty solid, but the rest of it pretty mediocre as it goes on paper. And then if you take a look at their lineup against right-handed pitching, Janikowski starts and leads off in left field against righties, while Urias is in the 2 spot playing shortstop. Then you have the big boppers of Machado and Reyes. Hosmer's playing first, Flores at second, Myers in center, and Mejia is the catcher. While against lefties, you've got Urias leading off at short, followed by Myers in center, big boppers of Machado, Reyes, and Renfroe, and then you have Dom Nunez as the catcher and Hosmer in the 8 hole. You may be asking yourself, where is Fernando Tatis Jr.? And that is actually a big blow to their lineup. He is out with a torn finger ligament, so he is going to miss this series. And he had a very good season for the Padres, an 848 OPS and 107 games played for them, so that is definitely a significant loss for the Padres in this series, even defensively, because he is a wizard defensively. Obviously, Luis Urias and Wilmer Flores is still a pretty solid middle infield, but it's definitely no Urias and Tatis that they usually roll out there. So Urias is having to move over to shortstop, where he's usually the second baseman, and we'll have to see if that plays any effect on their ability to play against us in this NLDS. But now let's move on to actually heading into the series. Game 1, Robbie Ray versus Dinelson Lamet in San Diego. Let's get into it. So hopping into the quick managing, nothing goes on in the top of the first, but then the bottom of the first, Will Myers is going to hit a home run, Machado flies out, and Franmil Reyes hits a home run, so the Padres already have a 2-0 lead. We're going to move things along bottom of the third, and Luis Urias joins the solo home run parade, so it's a 3-0 lead for the Padres. Top of the fourth, the Giants are going back-to-back with Gilberto Fuentes and Jock Peterson, making it a 3-2 game. Move things on bottom of the fourth now. Jay Groom comes in to replace Robbie Ray. He's going to get a strikeout, a flyout, then give up a single to Hosmer, and the pitcher Lamet drives in Hosmer on an RBI double. Then we have runners on the corners, but Groom gets out of it by striking out Myers. Top of the fifth, Peter Mooney hits a home run to make it a 4-3 game, so back to being a 1-run game. Now onto the top of the sixth, bases loaded, Matt Wisler on, and he's going to walk in a run to tie the game at 4, then strikes out Mooney, and then to replace Iglesias, it is going to be Lorenzo Ordonez pinch hitting, and he is going to just ground out, so it's still a 4-4 game. Austin Davis then enters the ballgame for the Giants, gets a pop-up, then a single to Hosmer, strikes out the pinch hitter Posey, walks Urias, and then Will Myers hits a 2 RBI triple to make it a 6-4 lead for the Padres. Then it would be Ryan Presley coming on, who walks Machado, and he walks Franmil Reyes, so it's bases loaded, and he's going to give up a run on a walk, and then another RBI, 2 RBI single for Flores makes it a 9-4 lead for the Padres, and then Nunez hits a solo shot, makes it 10-4 off Brandon Finnegan in the 7th, and it would be, after 2 quick outs, he then gets another home run for Luis Urias, makes it 11-4. Padres pretty much running away with this now, but then in the 8th inning, Giants have 2 runners on against Shane Green, 2nd and 3rd with 2 outs, and Peter Mooney with a 3-run shot makes it 11-7, so they are still sort of in it. Move things on to the 9th, Robbie Erlin on, 11-7 game, Fairchild pinch hit, he draws a walk. Baez then strikes out, and then Gallo singles. Runners on the corners here for Elliot Ramos. 2 outs, down by 4, so there is still a long shot, but Ramos needs to get on base to keep this game alive. So we're going to hop into this AB. Elliot Ramos 0 for 2 on the day. He's walked twice as well. Runners on the corners, 2-2 count. First pitch to him taken outside for ball 1. Second pitch chopped away, 1-1 count. Here comes the 1-1 offering. That's also going to be fouled off. 1-2 is the count. And this one is going to be taken on the outside half. Perfectly placed curveball. Ramos could not pull the trigger. He is locked up as Robbie Erlin gets out of it. And the San Diego Padres win Game 1 here in San Diego of the NLDS to take a 1-0 lead on the series over the Giants. Luis Urias with a big day, 2 home runs for him, both solo shots in this 11-7 victory. Peter Mooney tried his best to keep his team in the game, but the pitching just failed on all ends. The starting pitching, the relief, all of it was just bad on the day for the Giants. And now we're going to move on to Game 2, which is obviously also in San Diego. Dylan Bundy going for the Giants, Mackenzie Gore, the left-hander, going for the Padres. So to kick off this game, there was a whole bunch of nothing going on, so we're going to move things along to the top of the 3rd inning where Leonardo Rivas leads it off with a single, and then it brings up, or he hits a 1-out single, I should say, then he swipes second base, Ramos strikes out, and then Baez drives him in an RBI single, so it's a 1-0 lead for the Giants. Bottom of the 4th now, Urias walks, Machado is then at the plate, draws a walk. Franmil Reyes, big 3-run shot. Padres out to a 3-1 lead now. Eric Hosmer now at the dish. He strikes out. Flores singles. And then Will Myers' RBI double makes it a 4-1 game. Move things on to the bottom of the 5th where Jay Groom is now on for the Giants, and he would give up a solo home run to, of course, Luis Urias, making it a 5-1 game. Raisel Iglesias comes on, walks Machado, then he swipes second. Reyes drives in an RBI double to make it a 6-1 game. Hosmer then singles. Flores is at the plate now. He's going to strike out. Then Myers' sac fly makes it a 7-1 game. And that pretty much did it for the Giants, as the Padres and the Giants both tacked on a few more runs. But the Padres do end up winning this one easily, 9-4 over the Giants. They have a 2-0 game lead in the series, meaning the Giants have their backs up against the wall. They are facing elimination, and the series is heading back to San Francisco. We saw this last season in the NLDS against the Washington Nationals. Giants down 2-0 in the series. They ended up coming back and winning 3 straight, moving on to the NLCS. We obviously know what happened last year. Do they have more magic in their bones? National League Division Series, Game 3 here at Oracle Park. Padres up 2-0 over the Giants. Padres sending out one of their essentially 3 aces they had this season in Chris Paddock, and he will be opposed by the lefty and Tyler Skaggs, who has had a very solid season for the Giants as well. Take a look at their lineup 1-2-9, as well as the opposing Padres lineup 1-2-9. We'll start things off top half of the 1st inning. Luis Urias trying to start this game with a bang. Will he have another solo shot? He will not. Manny Margot puts it away at the wall for out number 1, but a loud first out of the game. Will Myers then comes to the plate, and he walks on 4 pitches, so he's over on first with 1 out, and then Manny Machado, a high fly ball to left field. This one's got a chance as well, and this one's also going to die at the wall as it's put away, getting into the cutoff man. So 2 down, runner on first, and then Franmil Reyes lines one in the left. Peterson can't make the shoestring catch, so it's first and second. 2 outs for Hunter Renfroe, and he mashes lefties, and he continues to show that. A 3-run shot here in the top of the 1st inning as the Padres jump out to a 3-0 lead. Absolutely not the start you're looking for if you're Tyler Skaggs. So on to the bottom of the 1st, where Javi Baez is going to ground one over to third base. Manny Machado jump throw from foul territory on a line over to first base. Still a 3-0 game. Bottom of the 2nd, Elliot Ramos sends one out to left field. This one's got a chance, but it's caught at the wall, and it's still 3-0. Still bottom of the second inning, it's Manny Margot grounding one into the hole, but Luis Urias fires the first. Margot's got speed though, so he beats it out at first base for an infield single, but then Joey Bart grounds at the second base, and it's still a 3-0 game. On to the bottom of the third now, where the opposing pitcher, Tyler Skaggs, still in the game, draws himself a walk. So runner on first with one out for Gilberto Fuentes, who puts a charge into one to left field. This one's going to be caught by Renfroe, so Skaggs retreats to first base. And then Jock Peterson blasts one to deep center field. Myers going back, he's at the wall, puts it away as that's caught, and it's still 3-0. Top of the fourth, Franmil Reyes hits one out to right field opposite way. Ramos gives it a leap, but it hits off the brick, and that's going to be an easy double for the Franimal. So he's on second base to lead off the top of the fourth inning. Next batter up was Hunter Renfroe. Hits a line drive right at Gilberto Fuentes, makes the snag for the first out, so runner on second, one down. Brings up Wilmer Flores. He's going up the middle. Margot gets to it quickly. They do not want to test his arm, so it's runners on the corners for the Padres. Brings up Dom Nunez, gets a two-seamer on the hands that he somehow is able to muscle out to right center field, and that's over the fence. His first home run of the postseason, and it's another 3-run shot for the Padres, a 6-0 lead for San Diego, and that would be the end of Tyler Skaggs' day. So he comes out, and a different lefty in Tanner Scott comes on for the second time this postseason. So he's in the game with 2 outs now, and he would eventually be able to get out of the inning as he gets a fly out to left field, keeps the game at 6-0. Bottom of the fourth, still no offense for the Giants as Javi Baez hard hit ball, but right at Machado, who makes the snag. Then Tanner Scott would still be in for the top of the fifth inning, where he walks Machado, so 1 on, 1 out. Then a ground ball that could have been a double play, but this one gets through the infield, as that's going to allow Machado to get the third, so it's runners on the corners with 1 out for Hunter Renfroe, and he's going to hit that ground ball for a double play, 6-4-3. To end the inning, so it's still 6-0 as Scott gets out of the jam. Bottom of the fifth now, Manny Margot going up the middle for a base knock to lead off the inning. So he's on first base. Next batter up is Joey Bart. He's going to hit one up the middle as well, but this one is going to be able to get got by Urias, and he tries to turn it into a double play, but he only gets 1. So Bart's on first. Brings up Peter Mooney, who's had a solid NLDS despite his team being down 2-0. Good timing on that one, but he pops it up sky high to the infield. 2 down, runner on first. Seth Beer comes on to pinch hit. So he comes up, works a 2-0 count, ground ball over to second. Flores makes the play from the outfield grass, fires the first, still 6-0. Jordan Hicks finally gets to come in for the postseason after a bunch of blowouts. He's finally needed to try to keep the game at 6-0. And he comes in against the heart of the order here in the 8th, gets a long pop-up for Machado for the first out, then Franmil Reyes gets jammed, but he's able to muscle it out for a bloop hit. So he's on first base. Next batter up is Renfroe, gets blown away on the 100-mile-an-hour fastball. So 2 down, 3-1 count to Wilmer Flores. He's also going to have some soft contact, and it lands for a single in right field. So 2 runners on, 2 outs. Brings up Dom Nunez. He's whipping through the slider, so 2 strikeouts in the inning for Hicks. Keeps the game at 6-0. On to the bottom of the 8th, where Peter Mooney sends one out to deep left center field, but it's caught at the track. Still nothing going on offense for the Giants. Lorenzo Ordonez comes on to pinch hit with 2 outs. First pitch swinging, sends the ball to deep center field. This one at first has a chance, but it's going to get caught at the wall by Myers. So move on to the 9th. Fuentes is fooled by a slider, and he is not happy about it. He can't believe he fell for it, so that's 1 down. Then Jock Peterson gets a pitch in his wheelhouse, good timing, and he somehow skies it into the infield. Caught by Hosmer, that's 2 down. Next batter up is Javi Baez. He's going to ground one over to third base. Machado cannot make the diving play, but Luis Urias makes it at shortstop. And the San Diego Padres have swept the San Francisco Giants, completely dominated their division rival in this NLDS. They absolutely deserve the series win as they are moving on to the National League Championship Series. to take on the winner of the Brewers and Nationals series on the other side of the National League. This season was the first year that the Padres have been in the playoffs since 2006, where they lost in the NLDS to the Cardinals. They had the same fate in the year before, and to see the last time they actually were in a championship series, you have to go back to 1998, where they won the National League and then were promptly swept by the New York Yankees in the World Series. So with that being said, that is going to wrap things up here for this edition of the San Francisco Giants franchise. The Giants get eliminated in the playoffs by their division rival, so the next episode you will be seeing is the playoff recap as well as the offseason. I've been your host, Jerseyborn, and I am saying, Aaron Boone is king.